What's happening, everybody? My name is Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my analysis, and my hot takes of the drummers of today and yesterday and maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I am a professional drum teacher and a gigging musician, and I have been for the last 20 years. On today's episode, we're going to be listening to and watching Vinnie Paul of Pantera. Yes, he played with Hell Yeah and Damage Plan, but he's known as the drummer for Pantera. Today is June 22nd, 2019, and it is the 1-year anniversary of Big Vin's death. This one hit me really hard. I've been listening to Pantera since I was a kid, since I was like 13, 14, 15. I think the first 3 records, okay, I know there were records before this, but the first 3 records that everyone talks about when they think of Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, and Far Beyond Driven, I think are the gospels of heavy metal. As a drum teacher, I have lots of kids coming in, and they're always bringing in the new metal bands of today, like Whitechapel and Mastodon, and my favorite named band, I Wrestled a Bear Once. And they're all cool, especially Mastodon. They're really cool. But when they come in and they present their metal to me, they always get the same thing. This is cool. Let me let you listen to Pantera because it's better. And I think that Pantera is the greatest heavy metal band of all time. And I will jump up on your table with my boots on and fight you about it. Because, yeah, Metallica had 4 great records and then they had some other records. Pantera never went that route. Those guys stayed true to themselves, and to the very end, even up to the last record, which was Reinventing the Steel, which I think came out in 2000, they played exactly the kind of metal that they wanted to, and it stayed popular. They didn't have to sell out. Not mentioning any names. So, man, we're going to be watching, Big Vin and his brother Dimebag, and we're going to be watching Walk. So, if you're a Pantera fan, you know, and you can't watch Pantera without popping a top. So, this is going to be kind of a emotional episode. So, here's to you, Big Vin. Man, that's one of the all-time great opening riffs. It's a bummer to watch Dimebag. His drums are so big. Like, it looks like he's using 214s. I know he triggered a lot, and he's kind of the only drummer that I let get by with triggering, but it looks like he's playing 214s up top. So, like, here at the beginning, if you notice, this song is in 12/8, which is kind of an atypical time signature for metal. I mean, that is, like, if you include Nothing Else Matters as a metal band or metal song. But it's not one that you see a lot. Come on, Phil. Why do you hate alternative music? This is the 90s when alternative music was a thing. Those catches right there, I always thought those were cool. That's a big thing that I always liked about Vinnie's playing, was his double bass wasn't like just over the top double bass for the sake of double bass. It was always tasteful and it was always musical. So here's the big thing that I think Vinnie Paul does better than any heavy metal drummer ever. He played with so much groove. Like that, what he's playing here during the verse, it's the AC/DC beat. It's and it's the simplest groove that you can play, and he is destroying it. It's just so, like, it's not funky, but it's just so groovy. That's the thing that I think sets him apart from many, many metal drummers, is his big, fat groove. I love it. Man, I remember where I was when Dimebag died. I was working the night desk at the Super 8 Hotel. It was the last real job I had before I was able to support myself full-time teaching. And I heard it on NPR of all places. And they called him by his whole name. It was like, Darrell Abbott died today. He's using that gigantic, I'm pretty sure this is the power bell ride cymbal. Back in the 90s, you could throw your microphone out and hope to get it back. Feel better, hope he gets it back. T-Rex over there, laying it down. Okay, so right here, we're in a double chorus, right? They played that chorus once the first time, and now this time they're playing it twice. If you notice, the groove that he's playing right there, remember we're in triplets. The main groove that he played the first time was just 1, lay 2, 3, lay 4, 1, lay 2, 3, lay 4. On the second chorus, he adds one note, and that addition of that one note makes that second chorus kind of kick up into high gear. Listen to what he's doing right here. He's going 1, lay 2, lay 3, lay 4, 1, lay 2, lay 3, lay 4. And just that one note propels that second chorus. You know, when you play double choruses, a lot of times I think, and it's something I do a lot, when you do that second chorus, you want to add something, a hi-hat opening that wasn't there the first time, an extra bass drum note or an extra snare drum note that wasn't there the first chorus that you played. Because now it's the third time you've played that chorus, so you want to add something to it. I think this is recording is from like maybe 92. I don't think he got his microphone back. He had to get another one. Okay, so right here during this guitar solo, and this is one of my all-time favorite guitar solos. I love this guitar solo. What Vinnie's doing right there is very indicative of the approach that metal drummers use a lot. And like traditional rock, pop music, folk music, the bass guitar and the drums are the things that lock in. Vinnie Paul, you can tell he's playing with his brother. He is locked in with what Dimebag is playing, and he did that their whole career. T-Rex was basically there to just lay down and have that low end that you have to have in rock music, but the foundation of this band is Vinnie and Dimebag's playing together. They play like brothers. They play like they've been playing together for decades because they were, and it's very indicative, and it's the thing that sets heavy metal apart from just kind of regular, just like hard rock. You know, in hard rock or rock music, pop music, all of those things. The bass player and the bass drum are really married. In this style of music, the drums and the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar are what's married. This part right here, this guitar part, that, man, when I was a kid, I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And it is. He was so powerful. So powerful. You see those gigantic drums that he's playing. Like I said, that ride cymbal was that power bell, the Z bell, I think, that Zildjian had. I know he played Sabian later on. This is going to turn into story time here in a minute. I actually have one of Vinnie Paul's drumsticks, and it proves how powerful he was. This was Vinnie Paul's drumstick. I got this from my buddy who actually was a security guard at a Hell Yeah concert that was in my hometown. It was very close to when he died. And he went up to him. He was like, "Hey, my best friend is a huge Vinnie Paul fan." Pantera fan, and Vinny gave him that stick, and he gave it to me. If you notice, this is kind of like it's bigger than a 2B, but here's the thing, like usually we use the stick like this. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera, but he has dug in this spiral. He's carved this spiral in. And, he always played with gloves, and he played it like this. So he was playing with no tip, no taper. That's really hard. That takes a lot of chops to play as fast and as hard and loud as he did. This is one of my most prized possessions. Thank you, best friend guy. He knows who I'm talking about. But this is just an example of how powerful he was. And right here on this picture that I stopped here, you can see how gigantic his drums are. I mean, that looks like 214s up there. You can tune two of the same toms to different pitches, and it kind of looks like what's going on there. It looks like he's got 214s and an 18 down there. So right here is the first chorus. I think there's a double chorus here, and he's back to playing that 1, lay 2, 3, lay 4. When you're playing in 12/8, it makes it very easy to kind of mess around with that time signature. That little lick that he does right there, he's basing that on the quarter note triplet. The basis rhythm of this song is 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1. That lick there that he's doing on his China cymbal, that's based around a quarter note triplet. If you don't know what a quarter note triplet is, you take a triplet, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1, and you play the quarter note of that, which means you play every other triplet, every other eighth note in the triplet. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1. And I'm going to bring it back a little bit here. That's what that whole lick is based around right there. Right here. Right here. He does it longer later on. Right here. And this is like a halftime triplet fill coming out of this. He's going 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1. While I've got this stopped, it's time for a little story time, kids, because I do have a Vinnie Paul story. Many years ago, I was a bartender at the local metal venue, and it was a bigger venue. We'd have bigger bands. We'd had Hatebreed. We had like Blind Melon when they toured again. We had like Blues Traveler. We had Guar. And when Hell Yeah just started, I'm pretty sure like one of their first tours, they ended up at the bar that I worked at. And it was cool. I didn't really get into Hell Yeah all that much. It was a little too radio for me. But here's my story about Vinnie Paul, and I'm going to try not to choke up when I say this because I think it's a beautiful story. Hell Yeah played, and it was a packed show. It was like 400 or 500 people there. Like I said, it was when Hell Yeah first started. Played the show, and it was awesome, and it was cool, and I made a lot of money that night. And Vinnie Paul came to us and was like, there's going to be a lot of people that are here to meet me, and there are going to be a lot of people here to get autographs and pictures. And we're like, okay, man, what do you want us to do? He's like, set me up in a place that can be controlled and just bring them in. And this is the thing that he said. I'll never forget this. Don't stop until everyone has been served. Vinnie Paul played a whole show, like hour and a half, headlining show. And then that dude sat down at a table, and man, it was hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. And there were like hundreds, like 150 people in line. And Vinnie Paul, famous, rich, doesn't have to do this. That dude sat there all night until every person got whatever it was they wanted signed, got the picture, or just talked to him and wanted to, tell him what he meant to them. And he understood that. That's why Pantera still has a rabid fan base. You know, those cats, I'm pretty sure, grew up close to poor in Texas, and they never took it for granted, and they always treated their fans wonderfully. I love that story. And if you don't love that story, then move it along, because I can't with you. Because Vinnie Paul sat there for at least an hour and a half, and he signed everything. I remember there was a couple dudes came in and had like their dime slimes, which was the Dimebag signature guitar, and he signed everything and took every picture. That's why Vinnie Paul is the fucking man. I got to see them. I got to see them back in the, I think it was on the Great Southern Trendkill tour. It was them and Prong and Crowbar, and it was beautiful. You know, I know this isn't a drum cam. They were way gone before YouTube drum cams came along, but I don't care. Yeah, he's using triggers. You see that red D drum trigger on there. Dimebag and Vinnie, man. Don't think I forgot about this beer. So, yeah, man, Vinnie Paul, Pantera, they mean a lot to me. I found out about him last year, obviously, when I came home from a gig that my band had played. And I came home and I was on that, like, post-gig high. My band had just played in the local theater in our hometown. We had just been on the road promoting a new single. This was like our big homecoming show. Lots of people, fun gig. It was awesome. Come home, get online, and then, man, I find out that Vinnie Paul had died in Las Vegas. And it was a fucking bummer. So I want to share with you all a post that I wrote that night when the information about his death was new to me. So any of my students watching, turn it off, because Steve's about to cuss. I know I just cussed, so turn it off anyway. Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, and Far Beyond Driven. 3 records that changed my life forever and constantly influence the way I approach playing music. Not so much what I play, but how I play. Vinnie Paul has been one of my heroes for well over 2 decades. Watching Vinnie play makes you want to play with every ounce, fiber, and cell of your body. Playing straight from your insides. No bullshit, no faking, not one thing inauthentic. Absolute truth, and it was goddamn beautiful. I wanted to be Vinnie when I was a kid, and that never happened. My dream of becoming a kick-ass metal drummer never happened. But what he showed me was to mean every fucking note you play, and play it like it might be your last. I try to do that, and I learned it from him. It makes me so goddamn sad to come home after such a triumphant homecoming show for us, and to find this out. Thank you, Big Vin. I'm glad I got to experience you. You helped me so much. Thank you. Rest in power, Vinnie. A new level indeed. So, man, on this anniversary, go out there and listen to Pantera, because that's what he would have wanted. Because that's what artists do. They leave you their art, and Vinnie left you the good art. So, you know, like, share, comment, whatever. Go out and listen to Vinnie Paul, man. Listen to Pantera. You'll be better for it. Here's to you, Big Vin. And keep practicing until it's easy.